Good morning. We're just going to give folks a moment to come in from the waiting room.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. As a reminder, when you are entering from the waiting room, please remain on mute unless or until you are appearing or testifying before the board. Good morning. This is a hearing before the licensing board for the city of Boston. Today is Tuesday, November 1st, 2022. Today's hearing is being held pursuant to temporary amendments to the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. Today's hearing will be recorded and posted to the City of Boston's website. Before I review procedural matters, I will introduce Chairwoman Kathleen Joyce.
Good morning. My name is Kathleen Joyce. I'm chair of the Boston Licensing Board, and today I am also joined by Commissioner Liam Curran and Commissioner Kiana Saxon.
Thank you. Please ensure that your audio and visuals are working properly. And once again, as a reminder, please do remain on mute unless or until you are appearing or testifying before the board. I will call each item in the order that it appears on this morning's agenda. I will then ask who is present on behalf of the licensee, who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department, and whether there are any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify. I will then swear in all parties. After that, the police report will be read into the record. The licensee or their representative will have the opportunity to make a brief statement, followed by questions by the chair and the commissioners. Again, all testimony will be limited only to those individuals with firsthand personal knowledge of the alleged incident. Begin with item number 1 on this morning's agenda, calling Union Street Hospitality, Inc. doing business as the White Bull, located at 1 Union Street. Date of the incident, June 12th, 2022. Employee on patron assault and battery in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Jeff Baird.
Dennis, you're on mute.
There we go. Sorry about that.
Oh, great.
Good morning, Attorney Green, Madam Chair, members of the board. Dennis Quilty, attorney representing the applicant. With me this morning is Jeff Baird, the manager of record. Good morning.
Great. Thank you very much. And who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Boston Police Officer David Malcolm.
Detective Kenneth Curley.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Can you all please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much. Officer, you may please proceed with the reading of the police report.
Okay. On Sunday, 6/12/2022, Officer Malcolm took a walk-in report for an assault and battery at the White Bull Tavern at 1 Union Street. Officer Malcolm spoke with the victim, Molly Pierce and Michael Lagasse, who stated they were on the 2nd floor of the White Bull Tavern. Lagasse stated he was assaulted by being grabbed from the neck by an unknown employee, an older male, bald, tan, and forced down the stairs by the unknown male. Pierce also stated she was assaulted by the same unknown male employee. She states she was grabbed and dragged down the stairs by her arm and suffered scratches on her arm. Victim stated they left the bar and walked to the police station to avoid further incident on scene. Licensing unit was then notified.
Thank you very much. Attorney Quilty, would you like to address the alleged incident?
I would. Is Detective Curley going to speak on this one? No.
Thank you, Detective Curley. Yes, there is an additional, we have the supplemental report as well.
Yes, so on June 18th, I went down, I met with Mr. Beard, and I spoke with the staff about the incident, and then I was provided a video of the incident as well. I reviewed the video. So it was alleged that this victim, Michael Lagasse, had spit at a staff member. When I reviewed the video, I can see his head turn in that direction. I can't tell whether he spit or not, but the staff member does react immediately. He seems pretty angry. He follows him down the stairs, and he does grab the victim by kind of the shirt and the shoulder area, pulling his shirt tightly, and they're having words for a bit. And then another staff member steps in, separates them, and then escorts them outside. It didn't seem excessive to me. I could tell the staff member was angry. But I can't tell whether the victim spit or not. I spoke with the victim. He stated all he said was, "You just lost our business." He denies spitting on the staff member.
Thank you, Detective. All right, Attorney Quilty, with that, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Attorney Green. So the officer with the first report, this was a walk into the station. So no personal knowledge of anything that happened at the establishment.
No, sir.
And the inspection notice indicates that management cooperated.
Yes,
And apparently, Detective Curley, your viewing of the video tape, which I believe was provided to you only a couple of days later, was that other than this placing of hands, there was no other interaction, no beating, no punching, no kicking, no any
No,
other.
there was nothing like that, no.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Detective. I have no further questions. The board may have some. I do want to just suggest that Mr. Baird also provided a video to Detective Hernandez when they came with the notice in September, I believe. And Mr. Baird, stand by. The board may have some questions for you.
Thank you very much. I'll turn it over to the board to see if there are any questions, starting with Chairwoman Joyce.
Could someone please forward the video to the board?
Oh, yes, ma'am. We will make sure that
And-
happens today.
Also, do you have some sort of training plan in writing that you could share with the board about how to respond to such patron actions?
Yes, I do. Yep.
And please forward that to the
We'll
board.
provide that as well.
I'm going to ask Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon, do you have any questions?
Nothing further. Wait for the video. Thank you.
No questions from me. Thank you.
Thank you. The board will take this matter under advisement. Please do forward any video and any internal staff training manual to the board, licensing board at boston.gov.
Thank you. We will do so.
Do I
Thank you very
send it to
much.
us- I'm sorry, do I send it to Dennis or right to the board? It's the,
Well, if you want to send it to me, I can certainly just,
or do I have the
Copy,
board,
forward
do I
it.
have the board's email? Is it just?
rather
I
than
have
take
the
up any
video.
more time,
I
Jeff,
have the
send it
video.
to me.
You
I'll
can send it through your attorney. That's fine.
Okay, all right.
And I'll
will
send
do.
it out today.
Okay,
Great,
all right.
thank you. Calling item number 2, 425 Broadway LLC, located at 425 West Broadway in South Boston, dated the incident June 4th, 2022. Assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, bottle, patron on patron, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 15A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Again, Attorney Green, Dennis Quilty, and members, Dennis Quilty representing the applicant with us this morning, the licensee rather, Will Clark, Matt Casey, Chris Montani, Katina Corapines if necessary. And they are here able to be sworn.
Thank you. And who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Vincent Picaro, Boston Police.
Detective Kevin Magoon.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? And Detective, would it be possible to turn your camera on so we can swear you in? Great, thank you. Can you all please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
No,
Thank you very much. If you could please proceed with the police report.
yep, you want it. So about 12:40 a.m. on Saturday, 6/4/22, officers Picaro and McCarthy in the 101 Fox 101 Alpha responded to a radio call for an assault and battery, deadly weapon in progress located at 430 West Broadway. Also assisting was Fox 201 Alpha down Costello, Fox 912, Sergeant Crab. Upon arrival, officers met with Mr. Robert McNiff outside the Lincoln Tavern and Restaurant located at 425 West Broadway. Mr. McNiff stated his friend, Mr. Edward McKinney, was involved in a physical altercation inside the restaurant about 10 minutes prior to officers' arrival. Mr. McNiff stated Mr. McKinney was slapped in the face by an unknown male, no further description, and then hit over the head with the glass bottle. Mr. McNiff stated Mr. McKinney had already left the area in an ambulance and he did not want any police assistance. Officer spoke to security for Lincoln Tavern and stated that Mr. McKinney was assaulted with a glass bottle inside the restaurant and that he did not leave in an ambulance. Officer Picaro observed Mr. McNiff walking in a hurried manner towards the rear of 430 West Broadway and onto Athens Street. Officers followed Mr. McNiff and located Mr. McKinney conscious and alert and bleeding from the top of his head. Mr. McKinney stated he was slapped in the face and then hit over the head with a glass bottle by an unknown male. No further description inside the Lincoln Tavern. Boston EMS A6 with the EMTs Kay and Harris arrived and evaluated Mr. McKinney. Mr. McKinney refused medical attention and declined to transport to a hospital from Boston EMS A6. Boston EMS A6 cleared with officers, while officers remained on scene with Mr. McKinney. Moments later, Mr. McKinney stated he would like officers to transport him to the Boston Medical Center. Fox 21 Alpha provided Mr. McKinney with a courtesy ride to BMC. Sergeant Crabb conducted a code 35 for Lincoln Tavern and Restaurant, citation number 070533. And body worn cameras are activated for this counter.
Thank you, Officer Picaro. Attorney Quilty, would you like to address the incident?
If I may, thank you, Attorney Green. Officer, you arrived on scene after whatever had occurred had already happened. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you indicated in your report that you responded to a radio call. That radio call was from the staff of the establishment, was it not?
Yeah, what I believe. Yep,
It
that's
did.
what it was.
Okay, and it does indicate that on the inspection notice where police called yes, by whom Lincoln. It goes on to reply to suggest that they cooperated with you. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. We do have a video which we will certainly provide to the board. It was not requested at the time of the incident. We have it, we've preserved it. You will see in the video that no one was struck by a bottle. This statement about a security person suggesting they were, we believe is that the person heard that from another staff member and passed it along. Nobody made such an observation. And in fact, you will see on the videotape that there was no one struck with a bottle. Our belief is that this happened outside, an incident that occurred, and we were basically the nearest place around, and I think these people suggested that it happened inside. We don't believe it happened. In any event, it didn't happen in our place, and he wasn't struck with a bottle. We do have the folks here who were involved outside, and certainly happy to provide them to answer any questions you might have. Mr. Montani, Mr. Casey, Mr. Clark, who is with us.
Mr. Casey's here, Matt Casey. This incident did take place inside. Basically, a patron was walking through the restaurant. Another patron who was at the bar, as he passed, tapped him on the back of the head and then made it look like he wasn't the guy. He didn't do that. What then occurred is the guy who was tapped in the head turned around, saw somebody directly in front of him, thought he tapped him in the head, and he threw a punch at him. Those two exchanged a couple punches. Our security team got right in quickly, separated them, and got them out of the building. On the video, we do not see any weapon, any bottle, anything like that at all.
Thank you. Sorry, Attorney Quilty, anything further?
We will provide that video to the board immediately today.
Great, thank you. Please do. Chairman Joyce, do you have any questions?
I do not. I will await the video.
Thank you. Commissioner Carn or Commissioner Saxon, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
None for me, thank you.
Thank you very much. The board will take this matter under advisement, and please do send video along to the board.
Will do.
Thank you. Calling item number 3, 425 Broadway LLC, located at 425 West Broadway in South Boston. Date of the incident, June 22nd, 2022. Assault and battery, patron on patron in front of premise, serious bodily injury in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A, and failure to call 911 in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Board's Rule 1.14B. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Attorney Green, once again, Dennis Quilty, attorney representing the licensee. With us again, the same individuals, with the addition of Mike O'Brien. All of them have been sworn. I do want to apologize. I confused the previous matter with this one when I suggested it was outside, not inside. I'm sorry for that.
Great.
And again, we are here ready to testify. Thank you.
Thank you. And who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Detective Swain. First name Sandra.
Thank you very much, Detective. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning?
Lieutenant Detective Troy, if necessary.
Detective William Gallagher if necessary as well.
Thank you. Could all those who have not yet been sworn in, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Detective Swain, if you could please proceed with reading in the police report.
Okay, excuse me, on Wednesday, June 22nd, Officer De Los Santos responded to the Brigham and Women's Hospital to meet with the victim of an assault. The victim, Peter O'Connell, stated that on Sunday, he was out with friends and around 2 a.m., which would be June 20th, he was walking up West Broadway to the Lincoln Tavern to meet up with another friend when he was assaulted outside. He sustained a pretty vicious assault. He could lose his kidney at this time. So I'll move on to further investigation. It was revealed that the assault happened a few doors down from the Lincoln, outside of the Lincoln. It was more so in front of the CVS where there are no cameras. And the suspect of the assault was identified, and I did speak to management at the Lincoln, who, after a few tries, they did provide video showing the suspect of the assault outside in a conversation of the Lincoln. It's still unknown whether he was inside the Lincoln or outside the Lincoln. And as far as the 911 call goes, I did find a 911 call June 20th at 1:41 a.m. A 911 call, well, a call was placed to the District 6 station by, it says Lincoln Tavern employee. They did send a car who, by that time when they arrived, the victim was gone from the scene, as well as the suspect.
Thank you, Detective. Lieutenant Troy and Sergeant Gallagher, there are a number of reports here that if one of you could please read into the record.
Sorry, my report, sir, is just the issuing of the LPV, and most everything in my report was mentioned by Detective Sandra Swain. I can read that into the record if you'd like. It might be redundant. It's up to you folks.
And we've certainly seen it. I don't require hearing it.
Okay, all right. Then in that case, Attorney Quilty, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yeah, I just want to make certain that I have the facts right. This was a call in by someone at the hospital after an event had occurred.
Yes,
Okay. So there was no BPD involvement in the incident or any visual of the incident by any of the officers or detectives.
correct.
And Detective Swain, your follow-up did indicate some very important information. Number one, that the 911 call was indeed made by staff.
Yes,
And to our knowledge, it's Mike O'Brien, who's the manager, made the call on his cell phone. But you verified that, is that correct?
yes,
And in addition, you were able to verify that what was observable happened outside at near the CVS, not inside Lincoln.
correct.
Okay. And the excuse me, and the video was provided to you at that time, was that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So I mean, it appears that the establishment did everything properly and correctly in the circumstances. Would that be the case?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. We have no further questions. The staff members stand by to be questioned, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Chairman Joyce, do you have any questions?
I'm sorry, I was just trying to read through the police reports. I hadn't read them in advance. Is there video? of this?
Yes, ma'am. Video
that
was
was
provided
provided?
to Detective Swain. We will send a copy to you this today.
Okay, I reserve my questions. I review the video.
Thank you. Commissioner Curran, any questions?
One point of clarification, was 911 called or was it a direct call made to the precinct?
It was a direct call made to the precinct. I have
It
the
was the
record
precinct.
here.
Okay, did that like have an effect on the response?
No, it did not. The officers at the station would have got on the radio and requested a unit to respond to the Lincoln.
Okay, so best evidence is that this happened very quickly and they were gone very quickly?
Yes, the call, they were there within 4 minutes.
Thank you. That's all I need.
Was there any investigation to figure out whether either the suspect or the victim were inside the establishment?
The victim was never inside the establishment. I was told that the suspect was inside the establishment, but I do not have video of the suspect inside.
It's our contention. We don't know if the suspect was inside. We do have video of right before the incident. He walks from down the street by our doorway. So he was not inside right before the incident occurred. I don't know if we don't know if he was in there at any point during the day or evening, but certainly he did not come from the Lincoln before the assault happened.
And that is shown on the video.
Correct.
Thank you. Any further questions from the board? Okay, sounds like that video will be helpful, so please provide it as well, and the board will take this matter under advisement.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Calling item number 4, High Street Restaurant Group LLC doing business as Howl at the Moon and Down Ultra Lounge located at 184 High Street, dated the incident June 3rd, 2022. Sick assist to overserved patron in violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 64. Who's present on behalf of the licensee?
Mr. Green, again, Dennis Quilty, attorney representing the licensee. With me this morning is Arthur Lewis, who is the operations manager for the licensee. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Who's present on behalf of the Boston Police?
Officer Peter Layton.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? You could all please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Officer, you may please proceed with the police report.
About 11:05 p.m. on Friday, June 3rd, 2022, Officer Layton in the Alpha 435 responded to a radio call for a female passed out in the bathroom at Howl at the Moon located at 184 High Street. Also assisting was the Alpha 422 Paulino, Alpha 693 Gorman, and Sergeant Downey, the duty supervisor. Upon arrival, officers were met by Howl at the Moon staff, stating that they had a female victim who was passed out in the female bathroom. The victim was later identified as Jacqueline Abrams. When officers entered the bathroom, the victim, Abrams, was sitting up unconscious. The victim was able to communicate with officers as well as with EMS and Boston Fire. The victim was spoken to by Boston EMS, and it was determined that she needed further medical attention. The victim was transported to Tufts Medical Center.
Thank you very much. Attorney Quilty, would you like to address the incident?
If I may, Officer Layton, you did not observe anything prior to your arrival on scene, obviously.
No.
You arrived and it was the staff who had placed the 911 call, is that correct?
Correct.
And they did cooperate with you?
Yes.
And our belief is that this person may have ingested something. There's no indication of overservice, or certainly no visuals that you were able to make on scene. We made the call. Our staff discovered this in the bathroom, made the call to the police immediately. Mr. Lucas was there, responded, assisted. We believe that there was some medication or some other substance this person ingested. Mr. Lucas did make a record check of this name, and we do not have any credit card, tab in that name. So very difficult, Madam Chair, for us to determine what was ingested. But again, we did everything we believe we were supposed to do in the circumstances to make sure this person was assisted and taken care of in every way. And Mr. Lucas is here to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Do you know how long this person was inside the licensed premise?
We tried to check the video when she came in and we couldn't really get an exact time. We opened at 6 o'clock and this happened at 11. And
Okay.
usually, usually the heavy traffic's between 9 and 11. So that would be my best guess. It was just notified. There was a female bathroom attendant that notified a security. We have a female bathroom attendant. So she wasn't in there very long until we called 911.
And was she with other people?
I think she was with a couple friends because I think one of her friends went with her in the ambulance, I think.
Okay. Do we have any information about what she ingested from the medical records?
We don't, Madam Chair, I'm sorry.
Okay, again, as everyone knows, there has been an increased reports of drugging in licensed premises throughout the city, and I appreciate the fact that the licensed premise did call the police and get this victim assistance. Not to say that this was a drugging, but just to make people aware that this is the type of actions we are looking for from our licensed premises as we continue to try to make our licensed premises safer and our nightlife safer throughout the city of Boston. I don't have any other questions at this time.
Commissioner Curran, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Saxon, any questions?
None from me.
Thank you. The board will take this matter under advisement as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Calling item number 5, Danres Corporation doing business as La Chiva Restaurant located at 259 Bennington Street in East Boston. Date of the incident, July 27th, 2022. Individuals gathered outside involved in an altercation resulting in a shots fired incident at 356 Chelsea Street in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64. Who's present on behalf of the licensee?
I'm the manager, partner, owner of La Chiva Restaurant, Rodrigo and Julo.
Thank you very much. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
I'm Detective Alfred James.
Thank you, Detective James. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Could you both please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Detective James. If you could please proceed with the police report.
Yes, sir. About 2:55 a.m. on Wednesday, July 27th, officers responded to a radar call for shots fired at 348 Chelsea Street. Assisting units and also state trooper responded. On arrival, officers searched the area of 348 Chelsea Street. Officer found 1 live round and 2 spent shell cases in front of 356 Chelsea. A witness who wished to be left anonymous stated a verbal argument began between 2 males in the parking lot of La Chiva Restaurant. The verbal argument began to escalate, at which point the argument moved towards the sidewalk in the area of 356 Chelsea Street. The witness stated at this point that they heard about 3 shots go off and over one of the individuals run into a black truck. The witness stated that the black truck fled outbound on Chelsea towards Chelsea Street Bridge. Let me know the officer did observe there were RB cameras on 352, 54, and 358 Chelsea Street. The restaurant La Chiva also has cameras that face towards the parking lot. Detective Jane responded and took photographs of the area. It should also be known the original call refused to speak to officers. I have a second report to as well, sir.
Thank you very much.
As a result of ongoing investigation, it determined that the involved parties were congregated outside of La Chiva Restaurant, located at 259 Bennington. In the period of time that the preceded shots fired, the argument began there and resulted in shots being fired incident at 356 Chelsea. On Sunday, July 31st at 10:30 p.m. Salt Detective Blast and Detective Samaras complete a license premise inspection at La Chiva Restaurant. Andres Philip Arquin as identified as a person in charge at the time of the inspection. The person in charge accepted the license premise inspection. The valley noted that individuals gathered outside were involved in an allocation that resulted in shots fired. And the parking lot to be annulled is La Chiva's parking lot that they were, sir. That's it.
Great, thank you very much. Would the licensee like to address the alleged incident?
Well, I have a little discrepancy about, I have the video I provided to the police and I can send it to you. What I saw in the video is the guy parked across the street from La Chiva, not in the parking lot, right in the street. He blocked the cars so the people that were legally parked can get out. So he parked in the street, he don't park in the parking lot. And then he get out from the car and he walked through Chelsea Street in the corner of my restaurant. And I can see in the camera, I guess he starts shooting after that, because in my camera, I cannot see the guy shooting. He just walking to Chelsea Street next door to me and start shooting next door. That's what I see in the cameras, and the police has it, and I can send it to you. That's my response to that. I don't even know what happened. The police, I know they identified the person, because the person every week start doing that around East Boston. It's not the first time. For the last 3 weeks in June and July, every weekend he start shooting from Chelsea Street all the way to Bennington Street. Was more than 100 businesses start shooting all around. So I guess it's the police work to catch this person because he's crazy. That had nothing to do. That's my response. I'm sorry. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you for that. Anything further you want to add before we move to questions from the board? Okay, we'll move on to questions. Chairwoman Joyce, do you have any questions?
Yes, 1 second. So do you believe that this person who parked in the street and blocked the other cars, was he ever inside your restaurant?
No, he never came inside. He came from Chelsea Street. I guess he saw the people right in the corner. He parked the car, he get out right away, and I can see more after that. But he parked in the street, not in the parking lot.
Okay.
He blocked the cars.
All right, thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Kerner. Commissioner Saxon, any questions?
I don't know. Thank you.
None from me, thank you.
Thank you. The board will take this matter under advisement as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling item number 6, Concord Entertainment Inc. doing business as Bill's Bar, the Lansdowne Pub located at 9 Lansdowne Street. Date of the incident, July 23rd, 2022. Employee on patron in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. Security uncooperative with police in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Board's Rule 1.10A and B. And updated common victular license not posted in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Good morning again, Attorney Green, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dennis Quilty, attorney representing the licensee. With me this morning, Joe Hicks, Assistant Manager and Director of Operations for Lansdowne Street, Frank Hart, and Katina Korapines. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Detective Fencer.
Thank you, Detective. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning?
Sorry, Police Officer Anna Sweeney is also with the Boston Police.
Great, thank you, Officer Sweeney. Can you all please raise your right hand? Actually, Officer Sweeney, is it possible to turn your camera on so we can swear you in?
Yes.
Thank you.
Is it on?
No, it is not.
Should be. Hold on 1 second.
Sure. Can you confirm for us that you are raising your right hand while we administer the oath? Officer Sweeney, are you still with us? We may have lost her. All right, all those who are going to testify, can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Detective Fencer, if you could please proceed with the police report.
About 11:40 PM on Saturday, 7/24/2022, Officer Sweeney and Sullivan and the Delta 103 Alpha responded to a radio call for an assault and battery in progress at 9 Lansdowne Street in Boston. Also on scene was the victim 949 Sergeant Johnson. Upon arrival, officers were met by the victim, Henry Giles, who was bleeding heavily from the nose, who stated that he was beat up by the bouncers of the Lansdowne pub. Victim stated he was punched repeatedly in the face. Officers called EMS to respond to the scene. Boston EMS Alpha 04 responded to the scene and transported the victim to Mass General Hospital for further evaluation. Officers attempted to speak with a bouncer on scene, McKenneth Hawley, who was uncooperative and would originally not give officers his identification. Officers spoke with bouncers Doyle and Hughes, who stated they attempted to remove the victim Giles multiple times from the establishment. Bouncers stated that the victim then ran through a gated area, attempting to gain access to the kitchen. A friend of the victim was also being kicked out of the pub, and the victim stated that he believed they were being too physical with him, and the victim tried to get involved. At this point, a physical altercation ensued, and the bouncer Hughes stated the victim placed him in a headlock and struck the victim in the face in order to remove himself from the headlock. And the fight was shortly broken up after, and all parties were separated. Code 35, license premise 0042227, completed by the victim 949 Sergeant Johnson.
Thank you, Detective Fencer, and I see that we've been rejoined by Officer Sweeney on camera, so if you wouldn't mind just raising your right hand quickly. And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much. Attorney Quilty, would you like to address the alleged incident?
I would. Does Officer Sweeney have anything to add to the report that was just read into the record?
I don't know.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Just a couple of questions. To the original, is it Detective
Yes, sir.
Christopher?
Detective Chris Fencer, yes.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. So the response came as a result of a call. And when you arrived, this incident had already occurred. I mean, whatever happened between these two people.
I believe they did, yes. I wasn't there, no.
Okay.
I'm a detective. I did a follow.
But Officer Sweeney, can you verify that when you arrived, this had already occurred?
Correct. Yep.
You're getting follow-up reports from the people involved.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. And I do want to, for the boards especially, with regard to the uncooperative nature, the individuals involved in the incident, which did involve a staff member being put in a headlock by someone, and as a result, to protect himself, punching this fellow. That's exactly what happened. The person on the door when they arrived was there, had no knowledge of the incident. He was put there to get the other two out of the way so they could be questioned. So when he was asked for his identification, he didn't know what was going on. We apologize. We think it was more of a misunderstanding than an uncooperative attempt. You'll read in the report that it appears almost immediately they spoke to Doyle and Hughes, the other bouncers who gave them the entire story. So the person that they first spoke to, which of course they couldn't know that, but that person at the door was basically replaced from inside to stand there while the other two involved were being questioned. So he simply didn't know what was going on, and we apologize. They've been retrained that when the police ask for anything, they're to provide the information, and we as ownership will deal with it later. So our apologies for that, but we believe it was more of a misunderstanding. We do have the individuals that I can't see on the screen. Is Mr. Hicks, Mr. Hart, are they with us, Katina? You're muted.
Katina, you're on mute.
Yeah, no, I believe, I'm looking through to see, I texted Mr.
I see Mr. Hart now.
Yep, I see Mr.
Yeah,
Hart.
I do too. Okay, yep.
Mr. Hart, can you unmute yourself? Nope.
I've just asked you to unmute.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Mr. Hart, were you sworn in earlier? Would you,
No,
would you allow Mr. Green to swear you in, please?
Yep, thank you. Mr. Hart, could you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Attorney Quilty, you may proceed.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hart, were you present on the night in question?
I came after the incident.
Well, you were working that night.
Yes.
Okay. And can you provide any, excuse me, information vis-a-vis the Mr. McKenneth Holly's interaction with the police?
Yeah, so I pulled Kenneth aside with Joe Hicks and I asked him what happened. And he said that he didn't know, and one of the officers asked him for his ID, and he simply asked what for. And the officers didn't tell him, and he said, I don't feel comfortable providing my ID if I don't know what's going on. He said, but if you would like me to get it, send it back in the locker room. And then from there, I guess the officer thought it was being uncooperative. So from my knowledge, I think it was just a misunderstanding.
All right, and were you able to, did you listen to the reading of the report?
Yes.
Were you on for that? Did Mr. Doyle and Mr. Hughes, were they employees on the night in question?
Yes.
And they did provide the information the officers were asking for, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. Do we have, continue, is Mr. Hicks with us?
I don't see him in the group.
Okay,
He did say he was going to be here.
okay. Well, I do have, Madam Chair, as happens often in these circumstances, this incident happened last summer. A lot of these individuals who work in security and related jobs are there for short periods of time. They work for the summer, they're students. All we can provide you vis-a-vis the inside information, if you will, is that Ms. Cora Pines, who's the loss prevention director for the Lions Group, is the keeper of records of all the internal reports that are then given to their insurer. And we do have internal reports that she would read into the record if you would care to hear them regarding what the individuals involved suggested happened on the night in question. But other than that, we just don't have these individuals are no longer employed.
If she could forward them to the board, I don't think we need to read them in right now unless Commissioner Curran and Commissioner Saxon wishes to have them read into the record.
I would only suggest what you'll see is that there's no doubt that this individual was struck. Our testimony is that he was struck by a person defending himself. This is the headlock incident where the individual grabbed a staff member, headlocked him down, and the guy took a swing to protect himself. So we'll provide those reports to you. Ms. Corpines, will you please forward those so that we can forward them to the board? Thank you. And we will stand by for any questions you have, Madam Chair.
I just got a text message from Mr. Hicks. He was on but got disconnected. I think he's trying to log back in to the hearing room.
I'll be on the lookout for the waiting room. There's no one trying to get on right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna jump into my questions. How long did the bouncer McKenneth Hawley work here?
Katina, do you know?
I do not. That would be a question that maybe Mr. Hicks could answer. I don't have knowledge of, I'm not involved in the hiring or terming of employees.
Mr. Hart, do you have any idea?
Provide insight on that.
I'm sorry?
I believe he was hired over the summer or late spring. So anywhere between June and probably May.
And when a police officer approaches your staff, how do you train them? What do you tell them is expected of them as staff members?
Well, we advise them to be respectful to everybody, regardless of status or patron or so. I wasn't there at that moment at that time. I can only go by what he told me. He just said he didn't feel comfortable providing his ID if he didn't know what it was for.
Okay, Officer Sweeney, you were the one that was on the scene. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
And were you there when either you or the other officer asked McKenneth Hawley for his identification?
Yes.
Can you describe for us that interaction with him?
We were just trying to figure out what happened. Typically, when we respond to a call, we try to get everyone's information that we're dealing with. There was an obvious incident happening. Someone was heavily bleeding that had just stepped outside of this establishment. So we were trying to grab information, and he normally people that bouncers or restaurant workers are quick to give us whatever we need, and he definitely was not.
Did he say anything to you? Just trying to get a picture of it. Do you think could he see the victim bleeding when you went up to him and asked him for the identification?
Definitely, yes. It was right outside the door.
Okay, so you have a bouncer, it sounds like, who replaced two other people that were involved in an altercation, who could see someone bleeding, who could see police officers coming up and asking for identification, and this person didn't feel comfortable doing so. Is that
Apparently,
that's correct? Okay,
That's what someone's saying, yes.
okay.
Madam Chair, can I ask a follow-up question
To me or to Officer
to
Sweeney?
the officer?
Sure.
Thank you. Officer, immediately following the line in the police report suggesting that Mr. Holly was uncooperative, the next line, officer spoke with bouncers Doyle and Hughes, who stated they attempted to remove, and they go through the entire story of what happened. So was that information readily available?
Right. So I stated that the first bouncer that I spoke with was not cooperative.
Yeah, I'm gonna, Attorney Quilty, I'm gonna go back to Mr. Holly, who's who I'm concerned with right now, who's uncooperative, and not the other bouncers who are attempting to remove victims.
Right.
It sounds, and if there's video, I'd appreciate it being forwarded. It sounds as if Mr. Holly was replacing other bouncers. And Mr. Holly, it sounds from Officer Sweeney, could see the victim bleeding. And when police approached Mr. Holly, he refused to cooperate and provide his identification. Since Mr. Holly isn't here, I can't ask him that. So I'm gonna defer to Officer Sweeney, describing what happened when she approached this bouncer. So moving on to the next paragraph, it says that the bouncers ran after the victim who was running through the kitchen, it sounds like.
No, it says they attempted to remove the victim multiple times from the establishment. The victim
attempted to
then
remove
ran
him.
through.
Okay. They put him, there was a headlock, and then it sounds like multiple punches to the face.
Placed him in a headlock. Indeed, and goes on to say, in order to remove himself from the headlock, and the fight was shortly broken, thereafter broken up, and all parties were separated.
Okay.
And
Okay, I don't have any other
I
questions.
think Mr. Hicks did join us now.
Yes, he did.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I see him now. Mr. Hicks, have you been sworn in already? I can't remember if you were on when that happened. Oh, we can't hear
You're
you.
muted.
No, you're muted now, Mr. Hicks.
You're muted. Oh,
Yeah.
You're unmuted, but we still can't hear you.
You guys can't hear me right now?
Oh, we can hear you now.
All right,
Thank you. And you have not been sworn in yet?
Sir,
Okay, can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Attorney Quilty, did you have questions for Mr. Hicks?
Yeah, Mr. Hicks, just having been sworn now, state to the board what your position is with the licensee.
I'm the director of operations for Lansdowne Street, so that would be Game On, Bleacher Bar, Bill's Bar, Lansdowne Pub, and Loretta's Last Call for the Lions Group.
All right, and do you have personal information with regard to the incident that we're discussing here today?
Sure, I came in right after the police had arrived. I had saw some police activity out in front of Lansdowne Pub, so I usually kind of walk up and down the street when it gets busy like this. And I saw the police out front of Lansdowne Pub, so I came over there probably, very, very quickly after the police arrived.
Okay, please speak up or get yourself closer to the mic.
The phone's as close as it can possibly be, so I don't know what's going on here, guys. I apologize. It's not usually like this.
Go on, you were suggesting you were on the street.
Yep, can you guys?
I can hear him fine.
You guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you
Okay.
fine.
Sure. Yeah, no, I walked up and, I saw the police speaking with, with our security out front with, and they were talking with another manager, I believe Patrick, who is not a manager anymore. But I believe they were speaking with Patrick when I got there. And, the manager seemed pretty apologetic. I didn't know what they were apologizing for at the time, but they just said, what do you need? I'm so sorry. We don't know why he said that type of stuff. That, I came to find out that, that I guess the bouncer didn't give, the police officer asked for, the bouncer's ID, and the bouncer didn't understand why he had why he was asked for the ID, and there was a little confusion there. We immediately apologized and, did everything we could for what the police officer.
And do you have any knowledge of whether these individuals or your staff in general have been retrained as a result of this incident?
They were retrained as soon as the police left, and then after that shift, been spoken to about 5,000 times the next week, then the next week after that, then the next week after that. They're all rolling their eyes at me by the next weekend.
Does your staff understand that they must cooperate with the police when they're asked questions?
Loud and clear.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. The board may have some questions for you.
Thank you. Chairman Joyce, do you have any further questions, or should we move on to Commissioners Curran and Saxon?
I have no other questions.
Commissioner Curran, do you have any questions?
Well, what specifically is the training during onboarding and, the initial training when you hire security regarding cooperation with the police during an incident?
Sure. So, they'll come on. If they haven't worked for another line bar before, we'll walk them around the venue, so that to make sure that they have, that they know the space, because they're all different. They're not the same size. The Lions Group has several different bars in the city, and they're all different with all slightly different calls.
Focus on the issue. Hello, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, just focus on the issue of cooperating with police during an incident.
Okay, sure. So as far as cooperating with the police during an incident, what we tell every security and every employee, that if an authority figure, police, ABC, any type of authority, that you are 100% cooperative and you do exactly what they say. They tell you to jump off a bridge, you jump off that bridge.
Oh
That's
my
what we
God.
tell them.
Okay, and all employees are confirmed to be comfortable with the situation of cooperating with police before they're put in that position?
Absolutely. We have a lot of employees. We have,
So did you inquire of this employee why he did not fulfill his training?
I'm sorry, can you ask that question again, please?
If that's the training, did you inquire of this employee why he didn't follow his training?
I certainly did.
And what was his answer?
Said, I don't understand why the police officer was asking me that question.
But if he's
Because
trained,
Because I wasn't at the incident. I don't understand why the police officer was asking that question. That's what he said to me.
but that gets to my point. If he was trained to comply with the police and cooperate, and he was confirmed to be comfortable with that,
Yep.
why on this occasion did he not follow that?
You work or have trained people that don't do what you train them to do, sir.
And he remained an employee?
He was spoken to, and he was reprimanded. And he hasn't done anything like that again. He's one of our he's become one of our best employees.
Oh my gosh.
The moment he had deserved a second chance. You know, and, but yes, he was reprimanded and I was very agitated, to be honest with you, but he was corrected and disciplined, sir.
Thank you. That's it for me. Thank you.
Commissioner Saxon, do you have any questions?
No, no, I see there's a hand raised from Mr. Hart.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Mr. Hart, was there something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just wanted to add to the security officer. He did towards the end say if he needed my ID, I could go back. He didn't have it on him. It was back in the security room. He stated that if I will go grab it, I just have to go to the back and get it for you. So he wasn't totally defiant. He was just trying to get an understanding of why. But he did tell me that he was willing to go grab it from the security room.
Yeah. See, my point is not so much a hesitancy on any random individual. Really, what I expect, and I'm just speaking for myself, is that staff, especially security, will be primed for this situation. That they're aware ahead of time that they need to cooperate with the police. So when it happens, when that moment happens, they don't have hesitation because they've already been trained and they understand in this situation, the police are going to need to know who they are, regardless of whether they may or may not have been involved. So my point is, at that moment, if they're properly trained, they don't have that moment of hesitation that they might have when being questioned by the police.
I agree. We reiterated that to him, and they fully understand that.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Hicks.
I would just like to add that, you know, at least as far as I've been a supervisor there and with all of our employees, you know, our hundreds of employees, that nobody in all of the police checks, that none of our employees have been just cooperating with the police. And this was a single act of indiscretion. Like, from one employee who felt, you know, who felt differently and was corrected, but there is not, you know, within the Lansdowne under my supervision for, you know, since the reopening of COVID and, you know, all the employees and all the customers and all the police checks that we've had through there, that all of our employees have never in any way have we been accused of being just cooperating with the police. So I would just like to add that.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. Anything further from the board?
Nothing from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Attorney Goldie, it sounds like there were some internal reports that you'll be sending over.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And with that, the board will take this matter under advisement.
Thank you.
Thank you. Calling item number 7, BHC Corporation General Partner doing business as Club Cafe located at 209 Columbus Ave, date of the incident July 16th, 2022. Employee on patron in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
James Morgridge, General Manager.
Thank you. And who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Officer Liang.
Thank you, officer. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Can you both please raise, oh, sorry, was there someone who wanted to?
Yeah, Detective William Powell from District 4.
Great, thank you, Detective. Is it possible to turn your camera on just so we can swear you in? Great, thank you. Can you all please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir, I do.
I do.
Thank you. Officer Liang, will you be reading the police report into the record?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You may proceed.
About 11:09 p.m. on Saturday, July 16, 2022, Officer Liang and Wadi Niles, assigned to the Delta 103 Frank, responded to a radio call for an assault and battery at 209 Columbus Ave, Club Cafe, Boston, MA. Upon arrival, officers were approached by a female individual, later identified as Marina Julia Doherty Meehan, 09/29/1999, who stated that a security guard at Club Cafe assaulted her. Ms. Doherty Meehan stated that while she was dancing, the security guard approached her and grabbed her by the arm, put it behind her back, and threw her down to the ground. Ms. Doherty Meehan stated that the incident happened very quickly, that the security guard did not explain why she was thrown to the ground. Ms. Doherty Meehan stated that her friends were with her at the time of the incident. Ms. Doherty Meehan stated that she feels a little bit of soreness on her right arm and right leg. Officers asked Ms. Doherty Meehan if she needed medical assistance for injuries, to which she declined. Ms. Doherty Meehan described the security guard as a black male, 6 feet tall, wearing a black cap, eyeglasses, and wearing all black clothing. Officers spoke to a male individual later identified as Darren C. Lee Page, who stated that he is Ms. Doherty Meehan's friend. Mr. Lee Page stated that he has video footage of what happened during the incident. Officers then spoke to the security guard, later identified as Washington A. Pearson. Mr. Pearson stated that while he was inside Club Cafe, he observed Ms. Doherty Meehan approximately 10 feet away from him, standing near the stairway, vaping. Mr. Pearson stated that while he approached her, he observed Ms. Doherty Meehan quickly hide the vape pen behind her back. Mr. Pearson stated that he asked Ms. Doherty Meehan to hand over the vape pen, to which Ms. Doherty Meehan declined having one. Mr. Pearson stated that while he asked Ms. Doherty Meehan several times to hand over the vape pen, he noticed Ms. Doherty Meehan's right shoulder continuously moved away from him. Mr. Pearson stated that while he attempted to reach for the vape pen from her hand, he observed Ms. Doherty Meehan fall to the ground on her own. Mr. Pearson stated that he never grabbed Ms. Doherty Meehan's arm or threw her down to the ground. Mr. Pearson stated that there were posted signs of no smoking or vaping allowed in the club. Sergeant Johnson arrived on scene and conducted a Code 35 license permits check, license permits form number 004226.
Thank you very much. Mr. Morkridge, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yeah, we have video of the incident, which verifies what our security personnel were saying. So we can absolutely get that over to the board.
Thank you. And sorry, and that is a video?
There is.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we move to questions?
No.
Okay, Chairwoman Joyce, do you have any questions?
I do. So I assume you saw that, you reviewed that video?
Actually, I have not reviewed the video. I believe Chris is on and Felipe from Guardian Security are also on this. They both have reviewed the video and were here that night.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I had not been sworn in. My name is Chris Sterling. I'm one of the security managers here, and I'm also a Massachusetts attorney, although I'm currently on inactive status at the moment, and I am in good standing.
Danny, do you want to swear him in?
Yeah, absolutely. If you'll be providing testimony, please rate. Yep, thank you. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Sterling, is there additional testimony you'd like to provide to the board?
Yeah, to answer your question, Club Cafe has over 30 surveillance cameras throughout the establishment. This incident was captured on film. The video apparently seems to show a patron vaping. It shows a security approach and appears to be speaking with her for a few moments. It does show fall to the ground. However, it is also apparent from the video that security does not grab her arm, according to the police report, and does not throw her to the ground. She then gets up and walks out of the establishment. And with that, any other questions we have would be happy to answer for you.
Thank you. And if we could have that video forwarded to the board.
Absolutely.
I'm just curious for my own clarification. You have signs posted that vaping isn't allowed. If you see someone who's vaping, what is your security procedures for addressing that issue?
We usually eject them.
Okay, and is that through approaching them and saying you need to leave? What do you do?
Yeah, we approached them. We told them that vaping is not allowed on the premises and that you're gonna have to leave.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Commissioner Carn or Commissioner Saxon, any questions?
None for me. Thank you.
No, nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Morgridge, Mr. Sterling, if you could please provide that video to licensing board at boston.gov, that would be greatly appreciated. And the board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling item number 8, Galway Inc., doing business as The Harp, located at 85 Causeway Street. Date of the incident, June 10th, 2022. Persons under 21 in possession of alcohol on premise in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 34A, 34C, and 6464A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Good morning again, Attorney Green, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dennis Quilty, attorney representing the licensee. With me this morning, James Roberts, who is the manager of record. Good morning.
Thank you very much. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
I am.
Thank you, Detective Hernandez. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning?
Detective William Gallagher, if need be.
Thank you very much. Can you all please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, Detective Hernandez. If you could please proceed with the report.
Good morning. I'll be reading from a police report which I wrote on Friday, June 10th, 2022. Chief Detective William Gallagher and Detective Eddie Hernandez, assigned to the BPD Licensed Premise Unit, conducted a licensed premise inspection of the Harp located at 85 Causeway Street in Boston. While walking up to the establishment, the detectives observed 2 patrons standing in line on the public sidewalk drinking alcoholic beverages. Detectives asked these patrons to produce identification to confirm their ages. Both of the individuals stated they were over 21 years of age and produced driver's license stating they were both over 21 years of age. Detectives were able to confirm that Haley Arnold and Elizabeth Zolo had valid driver's licenses and were of age. Miss Arnold and Miss Zolo will be summoned to court for drinking alcohol in public. While inside the establishment, detectives observed a patron drinking an alcoholic beverage. Detectives noticed that this patron looked young and asked her to produce identification to confirm her age. The patron, later identified as Marissa Lumna, initially provided detectives with a main driver's license which contained Miss Lumna's name but displayed a date of birth that made it appear as though she was over 21 years of age. Detectives used a license verification program which confirmed that the driver's license provided by Ms. Lumna was indeed fraudulent. The fraudulent main driver's license was confiscated by detectives. Ms. Lumna then provided her valid mass driver's license, confirming she was under 21 years of age. Staff at the Harp said they were using a license verification program to scan all the licenses. Sergeant Detective Gallagher scanned Ms. Lumna's fraudulent license using the establishment's license verification machine, and then machine first scanned the license as valid, and then another scan of the license scanned it as fraudulent. Ms. Lumna will be summoned to the court for person on 21 possession of alcohol and fraudulent identification. Detectives brought this to the situation to the attention of the person in charge, Mr. Jamie Roberts. As a result of what detectives observed, Sergeant Detective Gallagher issued license permission section notice 043137 for person under 21 possession of alcohol on premise. Mr. Roberts signed for an accepted notice.
Thank you, Detective. Attorney Quilty, would you like to address the incident?
If I may, thank you, sir. Detective Hernandez, your incident report indicates that Mr. Roberts was cooperative. Is that the case?
Yes, sir.
And was it immediately obvious to you that they did have somebody using a scanner on IDs at the entrance?
They did have a machine. They had a machine that was up and running.
And Mr. Roberts suggested to you that the operator of that machine scanned this card and it came up valid.
Yes.
And then you and Sergeant Detective Gallagher scanned it twice. Once it was valid, once it was invalid.
Correct.
Okay. So it appears as though they were trying to do the right thing.
It appears, yes.
All right, thank you, sir. I have
You're
no
welcome.
further questions. If I may just ask Mr. Roberts. Thank you.
Good morning. Yes, this was a night of a Celtics playoff game, very busy night. We do have an ID scanner at the front door. We scan most IDs of people that are under or appear to be under 30 years of age. I will say we try our best. We do get some false positives as well as false negatives. In speaking with Detective Hernandez and Gallagher, we are in talks with Age ID, which is the program that they use, and we're trying to switch over. We've been very lucky with our age verification system, but it does have to be updated on a monthly basis and kept very clean to scan the IDs properly. So we're looking into some other options.
Okay. But you're in constant use of some form of ID verification at the establishment.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. The board may have some questions for you.
Thank you. Chairman Joyce, do you have any questions?
Yes, my first question is for Detective Hernandez. Did this person look under 21 in your opinion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and Mr. Roberts, what is your policy for scanning out of state, for checking out of state licenses for someone who looks under 21?
I'm sorry, we scan the ID through the ID scanner, and we also have the ID checker book to verify some of the licenses.
Do you ever ask for backup ID out of state licenses?
They will ask for credit cards and stuff like that. And also, I will say, the IDs have gotten very, very good. And we do, like I said, come up with, sometimes they scan and people are adamant that they are real IDs and vice versa. And we do partner with some of the location next to us. They also have an ID scanner. So we sometimes run them through both scanners just to make sure we are. This one, unfortunately, got by us.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Commissioner Carmen, any questions?
Nothing further from me.
Commissioner Saxon? Thank you. Board will take this matter under advisement.
Thank you.
Calling item number 9, BP Eatery LLC, doing business as Lily's Boston, located at 33 to 35 Battery March Street. Date of the incident, July 11th, 2022. Patrons on patio after posted 10 p.m. closing to 8 patrons in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64. Who's present on behalf of the licensee?
Good morning again, Mr. Green. Dennis Quilty, attorney representing the licensee. With us this morning is Peter Simonelli.
Great, thank you very much. Good morning. And who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Sergeant Detective William Gallagher.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify?
Detective Hernandez if needed.
Thank you. Can you all please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Sergeant Detective Gallagher, you may please proceed.
Yes, good morning. On 7/11/2022 at 10:27 p.m., Sergeant Detective William Gallagher and Detective Eddie Hernandez assigned to the licensed premise unit who were in the Broad Street area investigating loud music complaints when they heard amplified music coming from Battery March Street. Detectives proceeded down the street to 33 Battery March, Lily's of Boston. Detectives observed the front door to be open with a small group of patrons and employees inside. Detectives made their way through the outdoor COVID patio, which was set up in the street in front of the premise. Detectives observed 8 patrons still occupying the patio and eating and drinking. Inside the premise, detectives met the manager, Geraldo Correas, and informed him the reason of the visit. Mr. Correas informed detectives that a private event had just finished and karaoke DJ was wrapping up. Detectives informed Mr. Correas that when live entertainment is taking place, all doors and windows must be closed. Detectives also informed Mr. Correas that his temporary patio is a 10 p.m. closing hour, Sunday through Thursday. Mr. Correas stated that he thought it was 11 p.m., but he informed all his employees. Detectives continued with their inspection and observed the rear patio of Lily's, which was closed for the evening to have a bar set up with beer taps. Detectives questioned whether the bar setup was in the premise description of the common victual license. As a result, when observed, Sergeant Detective Gallagher issued a license premise inspection notice number 058927 for Lily's of Boston. Patrons on patio after posted 10 p.m. closing, 8 patrons at 10:27. Mr. Gerardo Correas signed for and accepted the notice. Detectives further directed Mr. Correas to contact City Hall to add karaoke to his entertainment license and seek to amend his common victuals license to add the outdoor bar on the premises permanent seasonal patio. Those essentially are the facts.
Thank you very much. Attorney Quilty, once again, would you like to address the incident?
Thank you. Thank you, Attorney Green. Sergeant Detective Gallagher, did the manager and premises cooperate with you?
Yes, sir, they did.
The individual suggests that he thought his mistake was that he thought it was an 11 PM closing hour.
Yes, sir, he did.
Okay. And he did respond directly to your questions though and shut it down.
He did, sir.
And for the board's knowledge, and I don't know whether the sergeant detective has been back, but both matters that were raised in your report vis-a-vis the karaoke and the outdoor bar are in, one is completed, which is the karaoke. The bar exterior has been heard by the local, by the Boston board, and is pending at the ABC. So we have responded to those questions right away and took care of that. And Mr. Simonelli, who's the representative of ownership and management, is here to answer any questions you might have, but staff fully understands. This was a relatively new manager, and he thought the closing hour was 11. It was a mistake. We're sorry for it. And it won't happen again.
Thank you. Chairman Joyce, do you have any questions?
Attorney Quilty, do you mean you have applied for a permanent patio in this space? Is that what
No,
you're
no, what
saying?
happened is the patio was on the license, but there was like a service element. I think that's what the question was, Sergeant. There was a
That's correct,
service element, an outside kind of beer dispenser, if you will. And
Okay.
apparently that was not on the license, so it was heard by your board and it's now pending at the ABC. Just to add that to the description of the premise.
Okay, I'm just confused. This was a temporary patio in front of,
There are two things going on. There's a temporary patio out front on Battery March. This
Yeah.
establishment also has a very unusual kind of rear patio that
Okay.
connects back out to what, Water Street perhaps? I
To
cannot
Oliver.
remember. Oliver Street, correct. And it's on that area that this was discovered. So the front patio was occupied after 10 o'clock. It's the area in the back that they observed this piece of equipment, I
okay.
believe. Is that right, Detective Sergeant?
Correct, sir.
Okay, so for temporary patio, service has to end at 9:30 with everyone off by 10. Where did the 11 o'clock number come from?
Mr. Simonelli, perhaps you know, this was a relatively new manager. It was his mistake. We're sorry for it.
Yeah, I would just reiterate what Attorney Quilty has said, that he was a new manager. He just made a grave error. We retrained all the staff, including him, who's now actually not working at that establishment. And it's part of our day one onboarding for the temporary patios to really go over that. And we have signage posted behind the bar for that staff as well.
How new is he?
He was within a few months of Lily's,
Okay. Okay, I don't.
usually working daytime shifts. So I think that was also part of the confusion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Carr, Commissioner Saxon, any questions?
No questions for me. Thank you.
And for me, thank you.
Thank you. Board will take this matter under advisement as well.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
And calling item number 10, Panda Legend Inc., doing business as KO BBQ, located at 83 Harvard Ave. Date of the incident, August 16th, 2022. Premise storing hard alcohol on premise with a wine and malt only license in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64. Expired inspectional service and Boston Fire Department certificates in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Board's Rule 1.02B, and no entertainment license posted. Who is present on behalf of the licensee? Is there anybody with us this morning on behalf of KO BBQ?
I am Kung.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us. And who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Sergeant Detective William Gallagher and Detective Hernandez.
Sorry, I am.
Great, thank you very much. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Okay, could you all please raise your right hand? Thank you. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Who will be reading the police report into the record?
I will be on reading from a report which I wrote on Tuesday, August 16, 2022. Sergeant Detective William Gallagher and Detective Eddie Hernandez assigned to the BP license premise unit conducted a license inspection of KAO Barbecue located 83 Harvard Ave in Boston. While reviewing the restaurant's licenses, permits, and certificates, detectives noted that the establishment's common victuals license was limited to malts and wine. While walking through the bar area, detectives observed 2 bottles of Jameson whiskey, a bottle of Jägermeister liquor and 2 cases of soju, distilled alcohol beverage. Detectives then observed that there was no current Boston Fire place of assembly permit posted. The last one there was 9/30 of 2021, and no current inspectional services department certificate posted. The last one there was 5/28 of 2022. Detectives also made note that there was no City of Boston entertainment license and premises was providing radio music inside the establishment. Detectives brought this to the attention of the person in charge, Mr. Gong Lu. Mr. Lu stated that he would bring the establishment into compliance. As a result of what detectives observed, Sergeant Detective Gallagher issued license premise inspection notice 059709 for storing hard alcohol on premise without being authorized, and convictions license for premise providing radio music without City of Boston entertainment license, no current ISD certificate posted, and no current BFD place of assembly permit posted. Mr. Lu signed for and accepted notice. That's all. We did have a couple of looks like there's a picture there attached of the hard alcohol.
We have those. Thank you. Mr. Liu, would you like to address the incident?
Yeah, so for the hard alcohol, and then so I got rid of them, everything, and then no more anything. Like, so there's no more hard liquor on premises anymore. And then because so I explained to the detectives that the 2 bottles are souvenirs. Like, so this is from the previous owner, because this used to be a bar. So this was actually a leftover from them, and I kept it as a souvenir. But I took it out of the space. And then for the place of assembly, I renewed it, and then I got a permit, and then it's posted on the wall. And then for the certificate of inspection, I'm scheduling with Peter Kenny, and then he's coming out soon, and then I paid for the inspection already. So everything is on track, and then I'm going to make sure that everything is by the rules.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Liu.
Oh, sorry, Danny.
No.
Thank you. Mr. Liu, have you had an opportunity yet to apply for the entertainment license?
Yes, I have. So I applied, and then I emailed everything to the name was Rebecca, and then so she because I don't have the certificate of inspection, so that's the only item that I'm waiting for.
Okay.
And then I'm not playing any music at all, so
Okay, let us know.
Yeah.
Continue to work with Rebecca. She'll help you get through that process on the entertainment side.
Mhm.
So when did you pay for the inspection?
I paid it today because
Okay.
I kept calling them, and then there was nobody picking up the phone. I left a whole lot of messages, and then
Okay.
so they told me yesterday that I should come in to pay for it.
Okay.
Yeah. And
All
then
right,
'cause I never received the package to renew it because the package was sent out to a wrong person.
Oh,
To
okay.
the general contractor who was like doing the build out.
Work.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
How long have you been open at this location?
1 year.
1 year, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Mr. Liu, what is your position? I'm sorry, with the premises?
So I'm the shareholder manager, and yeah. Stakeholder.
Are you the manager of record too?
So no, I am my partner is the manager on record.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so between the both of you, in August, were either of you working on these renewals?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Were you working on the renewal either for the inspection or the place of assembly permit?
Yes.
You were working on them at the time?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
I'm just curious, the souvenir bottles, were they ever poured? Or sold?
Yeah, so one was like a half bottle, and then one is like not open.
sorry, did that answer your question, Commissioner Saxon?
So the one that was half down, was it served by you? Was it served by your establishment?
No. We never served any hard liquor, like never.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any further questions? Oh, yep, Detective Gal. Yep, go ahead, Sergeant.
We were told that evening that those 2 bottles were actually left over from the prior establishment, which I believe was the common ground. We did also observe the soju there, and soju is a distilled spirit, though it's not high in alcohol content. But that was the only thing that he probably had ordered that we told him he had to cease because his liquor license didn't cover that. But he did tell us that evening that those bottles were souvenirs, and we asked him to remove them, and he said he would.
Yeah, and then also the soju, and then I got rid of the soju as well. So no more soju at all. Yeah. Like the second day I took out.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's helpful, Sergeant. Any further questions from the board? Okay, with that, the board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you very much for being with us. And that those are all the items before the board this morning. That will adjourn this morning's hearing. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.